This is Hino's Sport bringing you that heat and that far. We keeping a foot on the what on the Knicks. We keeping a foot on the what on the Knicks. And like the Tibetan marriage shift that I am, I'm applying what? Unlimited pressure. Because pressure does what? It bursts his pipes. Let's talk about it, man. Errol the True Spence fans are people who grew up in a stabilized home. All of this correlation is going to make sense. Either you grew up in a two-parent system home, i.e. a dad and a mom, or you had a father figure in your life if you didn't grow up in a two-figure family home, or you had some kind of male role model stability later on in your years. These are the three dichotomies that you're going to see with Errol the True Spence fans. He knows the sport is a father figure on YouTube. So he knows the sport is fathering a lot of men. Whether they want to admit it or not, they're being fathered by He Knows the Sport. So that actually qualifies you for having a father figure if you didn't meet the other three prerequisites. When we look at Errol the True Spence and we look at Terence Crawford, it is the dichotomy. Terence Crawford is a pure fucking beta supreme because he was in a one-parent household. He lacks a father figure. He had what was called fatherlessness. Now people say, well, didn't he have Bomac? Bomac's a big kid. Bomac's not nobody's father figure. So Bomac doesn't qualify. In order to be a father figure, you have to have father figure traits and personalities in of yourself. The move that Bomac basically pushed Terence Crawford into making, which was to go with Top Rank, showed me there's no father figure like personality there. So for people that want to use that, that's null and avoid. Now, we got to get down to the basics of it. You guys have to understand, boxing is basically encompassing the boxing fans that are associated with boxing. There's a systemic issue in our black culture, and it's fatherlessness. This issue has caused the white privileged individuals to usurp the original people, to usurp black people, to basically beguile them, betwixt them, and bamboozle them into their current state. Shit, you got Hispanics and Asians that are ahead of you at this point. So really, we're not even number two. I don't even know where we rank in the rankings of the rankings. But the bottom line is, it all started with the whole food stamp and all of this basically government assistance. What they did is they put into the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum, they basically reprogrammed the neuron receptors of black women that you do not need to have black men in the household. Because in order for you to get what you want, in order for you to be able to get some kind of government assistance, you need to have fatherlessness. You don't need these men in the home. If you guys remember, before slaves came from Africa to the United States, and you're going to see how all of this correlate. They were a family. You saw father, you saw mother, and you saw daughter, or you saw father, you saw mother, and you saw son, or you saw father, mother, son, and daughter. But they were a family. And what did they do? What was the intention of the white privileged individuals to do? They separated them. They said the men go over here, the women go over here, the boys go over here, and the girls go over here. Because they understand the power in divide and conquer. This whole infiltration and infestation has crept over for eons of hundreds and hundreds of years. Now you have boxing fans, black boxing community fan bases that still suffer these systemic issues. So what do you think they're going to do when they come to you with their mental aptitude and how they see sport? They're going to drop that mental aptitude and how they see sports in from the systemic issues that they're dealing with. So their mind is going to be fixated. Their mind is going to be lined up. Their mind is going to be thought into how they see life. And this is why we see the prevalence and the distinction, the separation, the gulf, and the division of Errol the True Spence, who was in a two-family home, and Terence Crawford, who was in a one-parent system home. This makes a big fundamental difference on your cognitive ability to think, your early childhood development, and how you're going to react as an adult. White people understand this shit well. That's why even if they have maids, they have nannies, they always got a family system that's taking care of their fucking kids. because they understand how important that is for the kid to see that positive reinforcement, to see that positive role modeling, and to see that positive impacting on their corpus callosum, on their cerebellum, so that when they become adults, they have structure. Now, I was fortunate and blessed enough to be in a 2-parent household environment. Everyone doesn't have that. But what everyone needs, if you don't have that, because you're going to get the nurturing element as a child, we all get it, is you're going to need a father personality, a father figure, or a father mentor. Now, if you don't have a father figure personality, or you never had a father figure role model, then he knows the sport. Just listen to these videos, man. He knows the sport as a father figure. He can teach you a thing or two. But this is the division. This is the gulf. This is the separation. This is the delineation between the alpha lineage of Errol the True Spence and a pure beta supreme lineage of Terence Crawford. Spence, because he had that father in his home, Errol Spence Sr., we've heard him talk. Because Errol Spence Sr. showed him how to be a man even from when he was a child. Look at how Errol the True Spence talks and praises his dad. It has crept into his thought process. This is how he's able to get through arduous fights, because he learned how to be a man before he even became a man. What I said was so deep and profound. Let me let that marinate in the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum. So hear me? Fucking wow. Errol the True Spence learned how to be a man before he became a fucking man, because he had a father figure personality, a father in his home that taught him, this is how you do things. This is how you gird up thy loins. This is how you be strong in situations. And he learned from that. That had a positive reinforcing in his mindset. We see this early childhood development in his fights. Yes, you see how it correlates now? How Errol the True Spence is able, in pressurized situations, to give you the buzzing testosterone, because he had an alpha in the home that taught him that. And we see the lack thereof with Terence Crawford when he's faced with pressurized situation, how he folds like a pretzel, how he gives you the estrogen field of hit me, I'ma hit you back. 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 It's a flawed DNA fighter style. When you're grown up by a woman in the household, and moms are very important in your early nurturing phase, because they need you. They need to give you that breast milk. You need that titty milk. They need to nurture you. But once you get of a certain age where you can logically reason, where you can do critical thinking and critical assessment and critical analysis, you need that father to build you up, because at the end of the day, you are a man. That's what you're going to become. Not a woman, a man. So you need a man to stabilize that and to bring that up and to show you what a man is going to be. This is the difference, the delineation, the distinction, and the gulf and the separation between alphas and betas. If you notice, Terence Crawford fanboy man crushes, Bud Tards, Bud man fans, they are really people that have fatherlessness in the home, or they suffered from a lack of father figures, or they suffered from not having a father personality or father role model. Errol the True Spence fans have the opposite effect. This is why they rock with Errol the True Spence, because they understand the lineage. See, this is why I try to tell you guys. People say, well, the alpha and the beta lineage is bullshit. Well, if it's bullshit, then that means you don't understand life. Because life is all about alpha and beta. Alpha and beta is basically yin and fucking yang. North and fucking south. Like the way the magnets roll. It's the polar opposites of one another. You can't have one without the other. And we both, believe it or not, have both of them in us. The question is, which one you prescribe to? Terence Crawford never had that person that could father him. And you see this in his decision making to duck Sean Porter. You see this in his decision making to have the fights that he had, where he goes into the hit me, I'ma hit you back, flawed DNA fighter style. You want to know why he does that? He does that because it is the way a woman would react in pressurized situations. They react in a very emotional and frustrated way. This is what Terence Crawford does at his truest and his most properest levels. He acts in a very emotional and frustrated way. You don't see the Terence Crawford fanboy man crushes in the comment sections. Those that support Terence Crawford, when they come at you with vitriol of haterisms and trollisms, of pure beta supremisms. You know why they do this? is because they rule and they govern themselves by emotions. They get frustrated easily. They get rattled easily, and it's because of fatherlessness. This is why it's all correlated. Errol the True Spence always has his strong resolve. You notice when he says stuff, it's absolute and resolute. It's because he had a father in the home that taught him these basic principles, just like he knows the sport. But when you got mama's boy, pure fucking beta supreme, like a Terence Crawford, like a fucking Ticket TV, like all of these other pure fucking beta supremes that's out there, what you're going to find is a shortcoming. What you're going to find is a vulnerability. And what you're going to find is a flaw. And the flaw is as simple as this. They lack a father figure. They lack a father personality. And they lack a father presence. This is important because in fighting is animalistic. It's as masculine as you can fucking be. And if you weren't taught masculine traits at an early stage of childhood, how do you think that's going to affect your cognitive reasoning as an adult? Woo! I'm dropping gems and jewels, man. Get the turkeys out and get to the damn gobbling. So when it's all said and done, when you see Terence Crawford fanboy man crushes, and we've seen the highest versions of them, ravening wolves, i.e. Budman fans, intermingling and masking themselves as fake as fuck, you know what, Errol the True Spence fans, what we see is what we would say a bigger picture scale issue. And what is that? It's called fatherlessness. When you don't have a father in the home, and you have these fathered issues that's going on, it's because of the fact that it is fatherlessness. This is what you're seeing with Terence Crawford. This is how he handles pressure. This is why he doesn't want free smoke from Sean Porter. Notice he does not want to fight heavyweight lifting. This is the notion of you being raised by a woman in the home and not having a man there. Because a man will teach you, you must fight your own fights. You must, if someone challenges you, it doesn't matter who the fuck it is, you're supposed to stand up and challenge them right the fuck back. With Terence Crawford not doing this, it's because he's limited. And it's not his fault, as when he was a kid. But it's his fault now when he's an adult. Because the good book says, when I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. But when I became an adult, I put away childish things. So when you're an adult, the fault is on you. The responsibility is on you. So Terence Crawford needs to reevaluate his team and reevaluate the people that's around him. It's not too late. And get a father figure personality like a Hino's sport to really father his ass up. Because to be honest with you, this is what he's lacking. And this prerequisite is the single greatest prerequisite of why Errol the True Spence will bulldoze, steamroll, plow through, and demolish Terence Crawford. Because of that prerequisite that he got in early childhood development that told him that he is strong, that told him that he has to fight his own battles, and that told him to never back down. Terence Crawford didn't have that. So because he didn't have that, you're always going to see him cop out. This is what he's doing with Sean Porter. It's the cop out. This is what's prevalent. This is what you guys are seeing. And this is why Terence Crawford is in the position that he's in. And when you have Terence Crawford fanboy man crushers, Bud man fans, Bud tars tell you that Terence Crawford is that dude, well, they're speaking of their own shortcomings. They're speaking of their own issues. And they're speaking of the fact of their own lacking. Because anyone that has the true boxing eye test, anyone that has been raised in a two-parent household system, or anyone that had a father figure, father personality, or father role model in their presence of their life, then they would not see Bud as what they think that he is. They would see him as a chihuahua walking behind a damn fence. So I said all of that to say this. This single greatest prerequisite is basically the deciding factor of why Errol the True Spence versus Terence Crawford will be Marvin Hagler versus Tommy Hitman Hearns 2.0. I keep the foot on the what on the X. I keep the foot on the what on the X. This is Hino's Sport. Check it out.